So yeah, just relaxing now. Just letting yourself rest in every respect of the word rest. And bring your attention initially just to your feet. And just be aware of any sensations or feelings there. Not trying to change anything that's being experienced, but just to become aware of whether there's any sensations or feelings. Maybe you were working on your feet or walking today or exercising, running sometime this week, and your feet are a little sore or tired. So just feeling those sensations, whatever's there, stiffness, cold, whatever it is, just allowing yourself simply to feel what's present. To be aware of that. And now we'll move up the legs to the calf muscles. And again, just becoming aware of any sensations or any feelings there. Just allowing them, not trying to change anything or relax it, but just allowing whatever's there. Then to the knees. And still moving up the legs to the thighs, hip bone, buttocks, your lower back, and your stomach area. So just feeling in your stomach if there's any sensations there. Maybe something you ate didn't agree with you, or there's some tension or nervousness, or maybe just something you can't identify, and that's okay. So just allowing whatever's there, just accepting it, not blocking it, just being aware of it. And again, the energy continuing to move up the body, up the solar plexus to the chest, feeling any tension in the chest, any sensations at all in the shoulders, and then the neck. Sometimes we hold tension in the neck. So again, just allowing yourself to be aware if there's anything there. And the jaw. That's often an area where we unconsciously clench during the day, or we'll hold back sensation or feelings or things that we want to say, but perhaps it isn't wise to say. So we hold that back sometimes in the jaw, in the cheeks, and again moving up to the temples. Sometimes again tension or stress or experience can get lodged in the temples. Sometimes they can turn into a headache or just a tension in that area. So just actually being aware of it. There may be a temptation to kind of try and relax it, and that's okay if that's what happens. But with this process, we're not trying so much to relax or change anything, but more to become aware of it, just to allow it. So just with that awareness with which you've been aware of the body, been aware of the sensations and feelings in the body. So now just allowing that awareness just to relax a little bit further back so that it's now outside the body, an awareness of the body, observing the body. Still aware of the sensations within the body, but now the awareness is expanded. It's beyond just the limitations of the physical body, but it's aware of the body and observing the body as well. So allowing that again to relax, feeling that awareness expanding beyond the body. And as you feel that awareness continuing to expand, continuing to be not bound or limited or constrained by your skin, by the limits of the body, just want to invite you to investigate this awareness itself. And just see if there are, ask yourself, are there any limits to this awareness? So just feeling with the awareness, sensing with the awareness, if there's any limits to it. If it's not constrained within the body, is it constrained within anything? Is it limited by anything? Or when you feel it, when you experience it, when you have a direct experience of that pure awareness, is there in fact no limit to it? Is it unlimited, unbound? So just letting yourself investigate and sense the unbounded nature of your awareness, of yourself as awareness, your nature as awareness, that is not bound or limited by the body or anything. If you want to open your eyes for a moment and look at an object in the room, in your room, just sense again with your awareness, sense the awareness in that object. Is there any limit or limitation to the awareness in that object? Or is it in fact unbounded? So for you, being aware of yourself as awareness, as the awareness that is in all objects, that all objects are made out of or appear in, is there any limit to you, to your nature as awareness? Are you in fact infinite, free, unbounded? Now, as you feel your nature as unbounded awareness, as infinite, unbounded awareness, not limited by the body, existing within the body and outside the body. In fact, the body appearing within you as that infinite awareness. And as you investigate, look to see if there really are any limitations to this awareness that you are. Can you find an edge to it anywhere as you investigate, just feeling as awareness to the nature, investigating the nature of it? Is there any edge to it, any limit to it? Or is it in fact infinite? If you can find no limit to it, then is there anything here but you as awareness? If everything is you as awareness, then what are these objects that appear within you? These bodies, these appearances of planets and solar systems, and all of the things that we see, that we experience as physical reality. Our eyes tell us that these are separate, distinct things. Yet our senses tell us, our knowledge is awareness, awareness aware of itself, that really there is no distinction. There is no, in the deepest truth, there is just awareness. And somehow within our nature as awareness, all of these objects appear. So ask yourself, how do all these objects appear within my nature as awareness? If I am, if I just consider for a moment, if I've never considered it before, that I may be infinite awareness, and that everything that exists appears within me, then how does it appear within me? And then think about when you dream. When the body falls asleep at night and the subconscious begins to relax into the dream state, don't infinite worlds and places and experiences occur out of nothing, out of thin air, seemingly? Suddenly in a dream, you're in another country, another place, another planet. You're someone else, something else, another age, another gender. You're living and experiencing a completely different reality, or you may be experiencing your own reality, but another aspect of it, another experience of it. And then just as quickly as it appeared, when the dream ends, gone into thin air. And then the body wakes up to this reality. So if infinite possibilities can appear within the dream state of the body, is it not possible that everything that we consider so real, so solid, so physical, immutable, is similarly simply a dream, a beautiful dream, appearing within our infinite nature as awareness? So here we are. As infinite awareness, here we are in this moment, dropping the veil, the game, just to say hello to ourselves. You hear this voice. The conditioning of a lifetime tells you it's a separate individual speaking, someone else. Within the dream of this life, if you meet this body, you will treat it as a separate individual. You'll play by the rules of the game. But in this moment, just between us, if we're telling the truth, there's no one else here but you as consciousness. So this voice you hear is your own. It's another reflection of your own nature, your infinite nature as awareness. Everyone here, seemingly separate individuals on this meeting, are all just aspects of the same consciousness. It's just ourself here to experience ourselves. If in fact that's all that is present is ourselves as consciousness, then what is occurring in these lives, in these dreams? This larger dream that we've been taught is real, that we walk through these lives and these passages and these periods and these years that seem to go by and these experiences. If it's all just us as awareness experiencing itself in this dream, what is it doing here? Why? So perhaps as we drop the veil, just for a little while, we can go back to the illusion after. Happily. The moment somebody calls us or phones us up, says, come out for a coffee or let's do something fun, we're happy to drop, to pick up the veil, to continue the game, to have physical experience, to hang out with somebody, someone we care about, we enjoy, a friend, a lover, family member. And perhaps that's a clue as to why we've done this as consciousness, why we've created these different forms of ourself, this appearance of me and you, them and I and us. Just in the interplay, just the joy of meeting ourselves. When I was in India years ago, I heard people use the word namaste, and we hear it more often now in the West. And I didn't really know what it meant. Someone explained it to me and said that basically what it means is the God in me, the God that I am, it recognizes the God in you. This form, that form, same God, same love, same awareness. Just consciousness recognizing itself in this game. Experiencing itself, saying hello to itself. In these infinite dreams, infinite lifetimes, infinite dimensions, multi-universes, dream upon dream upon dream. We greet ourselves. There's never anyone else here. In a million universes or galaxies and a trillion beings, there was never anyone else here but us. I, that's consciousness, awareness, dreaming, loving itself. The closest felt experience, and you probably, I'm imagining many of you at one point or time in your life have experienced a deep relaxation, an inner knowing, a release of the boundaries of identification into the knowing of one's true nature as awareness. And in that moment, perhaps you felt this deep, deep happiness, a lovingness. Because the closest emotionally that we come to our true nature is that. Beneath temporal love and temporal feelings, whether they're anger, fear, jealousy, need, sorrow, grief, desire, and love, temporal love, beneath all of that is a deeper love. And that deeper love is just our nature. as awareness. So I'm going to explore a couple topics that people who joined us or communicated beforehand said they were interested in exploring, and I want to talk a little bit about them. So if you feel like asking a question or making a comment or sharing something at any point from here on in, just click on the raise your hand button, and I look forward to dialoguing with you about that. In the meantime, I'll talk a little bit about the questions they asked. And one, I think, main question tonight that was asked was someone who expressed a question about trauma and anxiety. So I want to explore that a little bit tonight, because I think we've all experienced anxiety in our lives. Perhaps not everyone has experienced classic trauma as defined by psychology, but we probably all experience some aspects of trauma in different ways. We've all experienced some kind of loss, some changes, some sense of separation from another or from something that felt precious to us. And I think we've all probably experienced anxiety at one time or another. It's hard to live in a body and not experience anxiety. So what are they? How do we, if it's true that we are, if we stay with the proposition, the experience, the direct experience that perhaps we really are unlimited awareness, consciousness, infinite awareness, then how does infinite awareness experience trauma in a body or anxiety? How does that happen? Wouldn't we know as infinite awareness, which in a felt sense is experienced as love, as infinite love? Why would we experience trauma? Why would we experience anxiety, especially repeated anxiety? Wouldn't we know? Wait a minute, I'm infinite awareness. I existed before, during, and after the body. All things appear in me. This body, this form arose in me, will pass, and I will still be here. I was here before, I'm here during, I'll be here after. Just like a dream, the body will pass, I will still be here. I will be awake. I will simply wake up from this body as awareness. Perhaps just as pure awareness, perhaps right back into another body. So why would I be afraid? Why would I be anxious? What's that all about? Well, imagine, if you can, think back. If you can remember this, and not everyone can, or not everyone can right away, but imagine and remember back to when you were a baby, a child, an infant. What did it feel like to experience that body for either the first time or in that first period, the first year and a half or 2 years, experiencing this body, this incredible thing, this great plaything that had all these qualities to it? We see kids now, you see little kids and you see the absolute magnificent, radiant life inside. They are unbounded awareness, consciousness that's having a ball experiencing these bodies. They're like, wow, check out this ride. Look at this toy. Look at this thing I've got to play with. It does this, it does that. I can go here, I can go there, I can do this, I feel that. Let yourself remember when you were first discovering this body, what that was like, how free you felt, how in love with this body you may have felt, with what it could do, with what it could feel. It's a miracle. We were free and we were able to fully enjoy being in this body, being physical, experiencing ourselves in this physicality, because we knew we were not this physicality. For a little while, when we first appear, when we first express ourselves as these forms, part of us remembers that we are not the body, that we are this infinite awareness. And so we're enjoying this freely, just like you can get in and out of a car. You know, oh, I want to try this one. Oh, that's a nice one. Like you're shopping for a car and you're trying different models and you're getting in and out and you're going for test drives. It's fun. And even after you buy one, well, now you get a little more attached because it's your car. So you start to get a little more worried about if somebody bumps it or if there's a scrape or there's a mechanical problem. Now you're starting to identify with it a bit. You're not quite as free in that car. You're still enjoying it, but it's become yours. There's a sense of possession, identification. Now this car is becoming a little more precious. And so that's the perfect analogy and metaphor for what happens to us as consciousness in these bodies. As we begin to experience them and take possession of them, ownership of them, especially when parents and adults start calling us by a name. Up to that point, we're just consciousness experiencing the body. But they say, no, you're Bobby, or you're Sue, or Shauna, or Lorraine, or Charm, Patrick, Richard. Okay. But first, we don't know what that means. What does that mean? I don't understand. But they're saying this thing to me. But eventually, slowly, we begin to realize that when we respond to that word, that name that they're trying to give us, they're happy. And we want to feel the reflection of love in their faces. We want to please them. Oh, okay, so he calls me John and I walk forward and he's happy. Ah, he knows his name. Everybody celebrates. He's learned his name. So one piece of the identification has just been locked in. Now I have a name. Now I have an identity. It's very, very light at that point. But with time and repetition, that name becomes so much more than just a name. It becomes a little prison, doesn't it? The more we become attached to who we think we are, that people tell us that we are, that teachers tell us that we are. This is who you are. This is where you're from. This is what you can do. This is what you can't do. This is what your expectations are. This is what you should shoot for. This is what you should believe in. This is our faith. This is, and on and on and on. And these all become now, John John isn't just I am John. I am John that believes this. I am John that does that. I am John that lives here. So the story grows and grows and grows. And as the story of who we think we are, we're taught we are, the identity, as that grows, so true does our gilded cage grow. So too does that subtle sense of imprisonment. And we don't even really know it. Something feels it very slightly. And you can see it in kids somewhere between. Now, if a kid's had a really rough upbringing and some trauma right from the beginning, it's different, because that can shut things down very, very early. But with a lot of kids in a reasonably loving family, you can see the shift somewhere. There's still the lights on, 3, 4 years old, 5, but somewhere around 5, 6, 7, 8 especially, you start to see the light dimming, the light in the eyes. And the light in the eyes does not lie. That light in the eyes, that beautiful light you see in kids' eyes, that's consciousness. That's infinite consciousness shining. That's how much sheer radiance your nature's awareness has. So here we are between the ages of somewhere to 5 to 8. As that story of John grows, as all the definitions of all the identification builds, and John begins to feel unconsciously, this is who I am, and this is what's expected of me, and this is what I should be doing, and this is what makes mommy happy and daddy happy, and this is what this is who I like and I don't like, and this is who we like and don't like, and this is what we stand for, and this is our side and their side. And we start feeling so separate from the ones that we're told are different than us, that there's an us, this is our identity, this is our tribe, this is our family, these are our friends, and these aren't. And so we begin to feel so separate from ourselves, because our true self is consciousness, unlimited consciousness. Everyone and everything you see is you as consciousness. It's all appearing in you. But as we're taught, no, they're different, they're good, they're bad, this is right, this is wrong. Mentally, that division comes, choom, 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 chopping us, teaching us to separate, mentally separate, to see ourselves as other from something else, to fear them, to see them as the unknown, to distrust. And so is the roots of trauma. So is the roots of anxiety, because we're beginning to distrust ourselves. We're being hypnotized that rather than being infinite consciousness, we are these finite little beings that live in a perpetual state of uncertainty. Is dad going to make enough money? Are we going to pay the rent? Is dad going to get angry? Is mom going to have a breakdown? Is something going to go wrong in the society? Is there going to be a recession? Is there going to be this? Is there going to be that? Are the teachers mad at me? Is he going to hit me? Are they going to bully me? Is this going to happen? And so we have these experiences and these continual lessons reinforcing, this is who I am, and this is what I need to be afraid of. This is all the things I'm separate from. And so the more that occurs when the more real pain, physical pain we experience, maybe we do get bullied. Maybe we do have an abusive parent. Maybe we have some traumatic incident when we're young. And so what happens within the physiological experience is, The eye sees something occurring, some action occurring, and then there's pain felt in the body, either physical or emotional or both. And so that sets up a neural link between the observed and the experience. And now we live unconsciously, subconsciously in fear of that experience. If somebody does this or says that, that's going to hurt me. That could hurt me. I don't want to be hurt. I've been hurt like that. I don't want that to happen again. So I'm going to avoid that experience. I'm going to develop strategies, attitudes to try to avoid the bad stuff, encourage the good stuff. So again, now these personalities, these identifications, they grow more, because now it's not just who they told you are and how different you are from that group, but now you need all these strategies to navigate this whole territory. So now your personality is growing, expanding, all kinds of definitions of what you like and don't like and should do and shouldn't do, what will keep you safe or not. It's crazy. and yet, what's happening? This whole time, there's only you here. That's consciousness, as awareness. All of these other forms, the bully in the schoolyard, the teacher, the cute girl or cute guy you liked when you were in grade school or in college, the things you wanted, the career you wanted, the promotion you wanted, the thing you wanted, all of that was always just you as awareness. It was always just you. Every part of it was you as consciousness, experiencing itself through each form, through each appearance, just interacting with itself. And we strive, but we've been taught to strive. I want that. That's the relationship I want. That's the girl I want. That's the guy I want. The marriage I want. The house, the car, the job, the family, the lifestyle. I wanted to be like my parents. I wanted to be like some commercial I saw. I wanted that. I think looks like that's what happiness is. Yeah, that'll be happiness. When I get all those things, when everything is good, when I'm not feeling any pain, when I'm not feeling any adversity and no one's putting me down and nothing feels rotten and everything good is happening, then I'll feel good. Then I'll allow myself to feel good. Then I will allow myself to feel at peace. Huh. Wait a second. Wasn't that where we started? Weren't we in infinite consciousness and love to begin? Wasn't that always what we were? Wow. So what's this all about? What have we done here? Somehow, as infinite consciousness and love, which was never created and never died, which is infinite, eternal, somehow we've hypnotized ourselves into a dream that we're living a limited life. We've got to get these certain ambitions fulfilled, or we've screwed up, we've lost, we're a loser, or we've missed out somehow. And we're going to die. And what is death? And that's the end. And it's grim, and there's nothing after it. Or we follow a religion that perhaps gets somewhat close to reality, but a lot of them have some limitation and say, sure, you can go to our version of heaven, but you got to do this and that, and this and that, and this and that. And these are still the good ones and the bad ones. So here we are. Here we are. We have created this these really, really interestingly complex and challenging little dreams that seem to be testing us, telling us that we should be afraid, telling us that we should be worried and separate. We've got a little narrow alley that we can go through to have the perfect life. And then at the end of all that, what's our reward? Living on a cloud, perhaps, if we're good, some image of that, or oblivion. It's grim. So we wonder why we're anxious sometimes. Where did this anxiety come from? You know, when I was younger, for years, I worked professionally as an actor. And I took different acting training. And it was really interesting because I learned you could really convince yourself of anything if you used your imagination. And the acting technique was just about, pairing imagination with different assumptions or possibilities, so that you go, okay, here's the situation this character is in. This is what's happening in the story. This is the challenge they're facing. And this is what they're going through. And the experience I had, and that I think most actors have, is that once you start to get the hang of it and learn how to do it, you can really put yourself in any kind of emotional state. I could be in the most warm, cozy acting studio you can imagine, surrounded by wonderful people and a great teacher. And I could be so convinced of the situation that this character I was playing was in, and believing it all to be true. I could be in terror. I could put myself into absolute stark terror, or weeping, or ecstatic, unbridled love. And I didn't know, I did that for years when I was younger. And it was a fun little career for a while. I enjoyed it. But I didn't really understand till later really why consciousness in this form had chosen that career as a younger person. And then it made sense to me finally later on, because it was the perfect teaching for consciousness, for awareness, to wake up. Because it was basically showing me everything I was experiencing was just a set of beliefs. The same way I hypnotized myself into a character, into a state as an actor. This is what I realized. This is all that we do in life. We have hypnotized ourselves, been hypnotized and self-hypnotized ourselves into these roles, into these characters that they told us we were, and then we came to believe we were, and then we built on that story, and then we built on that, and people we were involved with or love with or married to or whatever, they built on it. So the story grew, but it's just a role. So what are we without that role? What happens to us when we let go of that role for just a little while? When we experience ourselves as pure awareness, as awareness aware of itself. When you investigated at the beginning of this, in the meditation, investigated your nature as awareness, and you found no boundaries, no edges, no limits to yourself. So back to trauma and back to anxiety. How do we bridge that gap between when I meditate, when I really, really just let myself drop there? And many of us have done that. Many of us have had those awakenings, those experiences of realizing the truth, but then experience, challenges, life pulls us back. We get threatened, we run out of money, something happens. Someone we know is in pain, and we find ourselves right back into those feelings, those familiar feelings of anxiety, or I don't know how am I going to deal with this? We forget what we realized in the awakening or realized in the meditation. So how do we bridge that? How do we bring those two together? Here's a clue. Meditation cannot be just this. For it to come together with experience, can't just be when we're sitting quietly, safe in our room. Because the subconscious mind and experience, those conditioned experiences, the conditioned traumas, the triggers, those neural links, we're feeling great. We walk out the door after a nice meditation, and then a big dog comes barking at us, and yikes, right away. That beautiful state of freedom and awareness is out the window. It's like, right? Now, if the dog comes bounding at you, you better feel something, because the body has certain responses, their defense mechanisms, their survival mechanisms. We're supposed to feel adrenaline. All those things are supposed to happen. Here's the difference. Who are they happening to? In this state, as your meditation deepened into an awareness of yourself as awareness, you knew you weren't the body. You knew you were that infinite love. Now you're walking in the street, the dog's barking, the dog's coming at you. Can you remember that you're infinite love? And the body is the one feeling the adrenaline. That you, as the infinity of consciousness, are experiencing a body in fear. You can't deny, you can't get there by denying the experiences of the body. That's just repression. That's just spiritual bypass. No, I'm going to be spiritual. I won't feel this. That doesn't work. I'm sure most of you know that by now. The body is going to do what the body is going to do. The body has certain conditionings, certain instincts. Many of them are very necessary. There's a great story I like to tell about an Indian guru years ago, true story. And he was walking with a couple of his students across the street, a busy street in an Indian town, and an elephant got loose from its owner and started stampeding down the street. And the guru saw the elephant, and guru's followers saw the elephant, and they kind of they looked at the guru like he was going to stop the elephant. But the guru, he saw the elephant, he just went, pshoo, He just dashed across the street. He got out of the way. And his students were like a little shocked, and they're like, "Oh, master, what we never saw you move that fast. Why did you run?" And again, the guru said, body sees elephant, body runs. you know, you know, and it was such a beautiful reflection that, wait a second, consciousness has nothing to do, awareness has nothing to do with some idea of how one should act, what enlightened behavior is. It's just another trap. There's conditioned responses. The freedom from the anxiety, I wouldn't even call it healing from the trauma, but let's call it the freedom from the trauma, because trauma is conditioned thing. It's wired into the body to some extent. You may always feel reactions if you've had some trauma, enough trauma or serious trauma when you're younger. You may always feel a little bit of a reaction. It's not having the reaction. It's actually not being afraid of the reaction. You may have heard the expression, it's the fear of the fear that undoes you. It's allowing whatever occurs. I took years of therapy when I was younger, first as a client, and then I was trained as a therapist, and I still work with people one-on-one. I work with them in a traditional psychoanalytic sense, but I also work with them as a consciousness teacher. And it's for now it's become essentially the same process, just a little bit of a different application, depending on what the person's experience is and what they need. But when I was first a client in the therapy, I thought, okay, well, what the goal is to heal this trauma, and I'll heal it by, if I get down to this core experience, something painful that happened or whatever, and I can feel it, then I'll release it and it's gone. So that was the belief. And actually that was within psychotherapy for a while. That was kind of the modality. That was kind of the belief that was out there, is that you experience it. Once you've experienced and you know what it's about, you've kind of released it. But that really wasn't what happened. That people still felt, even though they'd experienced it and they felt like they vented it, they catharted, screamed, shouted, cried, whatever the case may be, maybe gone to the people that those experiences happened with, and they had some kind of closure and talked it out and all the rest of it. And they really thought, well, that's it. I'm done with that. Very often they weren't. Because it's not the experience of it that frees us from the anxiety or the trauma. It's not, we don't get it out and it's gone. It's actually experiencing it and knowing we can endure it, knowing when we're just present with it without trying to change it. Because that's really what most of the time we've been trained to do from the time we were young. And unfortunately, sometimes therapy teaches us to kind of get away from the feeling a bit, get past it, overcome it, release it. And it's not about that. It's really about just being present with it and knowing, oh, okay, it's not as bad as I thought it was. It's just a feeling. When I was a young guy, a kid, and a teenager, I was terrified of getting my nose broken. And then one day I got in a fight and I got my nose broken, and it was like, oh, okay. That wasn't so bad. It's a little crooked, but it's like, it was in my mind, it was the worst. I just thought, oh my God, When I was in therapy, I was I realized, and my therapist pointed out, I was terrified of sadness. Sadness just, and I didn't know that before. And then through the work I did with my therapist, I realized, well, I was sad a lot as a kid. I had a kind of messed up family, and I was sad a lot. And I just, at one age, I just decided I can't handle this anymore. I don't know if I'm going to make it. I'm too depressed. So I'm not going to be sad anymore. So I just was a happy guy. Just decided that's who I was going to be, that built onto my identity. Now I'm this guy. But that underneath that was this fear of sadness. So the best thing in the process I had with my therapist was just actually being with the sadness. She just encouraged me just to be with it, just be sad. Don't run into it, don't indulge it, don't make a story out of it, don't make a meal out of it, but don't run away from it. Stay right in the middle way, like the Buddha talked about. Stay in the middle. Just be consciousness, experiencing sadness in a body. She didn't say it that way, but I realized after that was the power of that. It was just experiencing whatever was there. And I realized through that, after a while, I realized, oh my God, this emotion of sadness that I was so afraid of isn't what I thought it was. It was so beautiful. I never knew sadness had so much beauty to it. Within sadness, there's so much love. We're sad because we're missing someone, or something's changed, or something we really wanted or cared for, we're afraid isn't going to happen or didn't happen. And so it has this tremendous richness to it. And so I was able to actually just experience it for what it is, the beauty that is sadness. And most importantly, by no longer being afraid of it, no longer running from it or running to it. At one point, I got over my fascination with sadness. I went, okay, it's cool, but it's just one more thing. Then there was just the knowing of, this is just another thing. So sadness still occurs to this body mind, but it doesn't hook this body mind the way it used to. It doesn't hook back into the identification and the personality like that. The mind will indulge it for a few seconds and think, oh, what about that? And da 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 da. And then just beautifully along with that, very shortly into that, there'll be a beautiful sense of, it's just love loving itself. If I'm thinking of somebody I'm missing, or someone that's died, or something that's changed, there's immediately a recognition of, it's just love. It was just me as love in that form and this form and that experience. And then that sadness is just, it's a gift in that moment. It just enriches things. And so this is the thing. This is what begins to shift the anxiety, is actually just to be with the experience, whether it's fear, need, longing, loneliness, anger, just to allow ourselves to be present as awareness, as that infinite awareness with whatever arises. So the healing isn't a disappearance of the feeling. It's not a cessation of the feeling, but rather it's a cessation of the fear of the feeling. And thus, because it's the fear that makes us identify with it, that old thing about what you resist persists. It only sticks to us if we try to avoid it. So in allowing, in being present with things as they arise, feeling the reaction. It's okay. It's all right to be afraid. It's all right to be shocked. It's all right to, feel that adrenaline, right? It's going to happen anyway. It's just realizing that's the experience of this character in this dream. This is what's happening. I won't deny it. I won't repress it. I won't do a spiritual bypass, pretend I'm above it. But nor will I indulge it, nor will I tell a story about it. I'll just be infinite awareness having this experience, because that's all that's happening, is infinite awareness having this experience with itself. Even this whole cycle, what we're talking about, and I say we because this is your voice speaking to you ultimately as awareness. Whether another person raises a hand and asks a question or not, it's just you speaking to yourself. Though I always love and welcome the dialogue when it happens, but it's just dialoguing with itself. And this is all it's speaking about. It's just this amazing adventure that you as consciousness have gone on, that you have chosen to experience and express yourself in form, in a body, experience other bodies, experience all these events, experience being afraid, experience being traumatized, experience disappointment, triumph, failure, hopes, fears, all of those things, believing all of them to be absolutely a definition of who you are or your worth, your success, that you've gone through this whole journey and here you are speaking to yourself, telling yourself, wow, what a ride. Wow, I really scared myself there. I was really sad there. I really miss that. I really want that. I really feel lonely sometimes. I really feel angry sometimes. All of these experiences that you are having with yourself and that you believed made you separate from the other forms, the other bodies, to come full circle to this moment and recognize yourself, that it was always just you. Not you as a separate ego, a grandiose, Jesus figure, not you in that sense of this little body somehow empowered to be almighty. Not a Marvel movie kind of you, but infinite consciousness. That the Bible and the Quran and every book speaks about in some language, the language that people could understand 2,000 years ago. Well, maybe we can speak in more direct language to ourselves now. Because we have come full circle. You've come full circle in this life. These words that you're hearing now, that you're speaking to yourself, cannot be unheard. They will undoubtedly shift and deepen your growth and deepen your awareness of yourself, your recognition of yourself. However much you're able to sit in this awareness at this moment or not, it doesn't matter. Because the fact that you're hearing this means that you are being drawn back to that, to your deeper nature. I would say the light, but light, dark, it's all the same, just infinity. You've chosen this. You're here for a reason because you're ready. You're ready to hear it. And it will manifest more and more over time as your known awareness that there's only you, that person, that boss that pisses you off, that loud, obnoxious guy at a party, that all of those, everything, it's all you. It's all you as consciousness. Yes, you need in the body to respect physical boundaries. Get out of the way of the bully. Don't put up with the boss that pisses you off forever. Make wise choices because you're playing a character. Play the character the best you can. Give the character the best physical life it can have. Enjoy that. But don't forget. Don't forget. We've forgotten already. So now it's time to remember. It's all you. You are infinite awareness. Sooner or later, all these bodies are going to pass. Better we remember who we are now so that we're not living in fear of the end of these bodies. This body found out recently it may have cancer. So I'm waiting on a diagnosis, a test, you know. And of course, there's fear in the body when you hear those things. Oh, okay. But no body will last forever. That's okay. No car will last forever. Do you want to drive the same car for your whole life? Do you, as infinite awareness, want to drive the same body? No. You've created billions of bodies here interacting with yourself. We love these forms. We love these lives. We love the ones that these bodies and these personalities love. We love our family. We love our loved ones. We love those things we enjoy. I have a band. I play music. I do different things. I enjoy them. They're great. I love it. You know, that's, we're here to celebrate that stuff. But more than anything, we're here to remember. We're here to go through that whole cycle. I think it was Rudyard Kipling that said was it Kipling or T.S. Eliot, to return to the place that you began and know it for the first time. I'm paraphrasing. That's exactly what that bit of poetry is about. This is why we're here, to return to the place we began, where the journey started, and know it for the first time. And in knowing it and recognizing your nature as awareness, that was always free, always infinite, indestructible, immortal. You will not pass with this body. You will not end with this body. You did not begin with this body. The more that is recognized and realized, then a new choice or another choice develops in life, which is, well, what do I do? What wants to happen with this life? If there's a recognition of oneself as awareness, experiencing itself, what wants to happen? And I think that's a beautiful discovery because it's going to be different for everybody. Very different, perhaps. For one person, it may be just to fall deeply into some kind of a creative discipline and go as far as they can go with that. For another, it could be to just work with people and be deeply in love with them and giving in a charitable sense. And for someone else, it might be just to be with their friends and family in a just in a simpler, more relaxed way that just puts everybody at ease. You know, we've all experienced those people in our lives probably that just made us feel good. That just, you know, we just felt relaxed around them and we just felt a sense of goodness and that we liked ourselves more around them. That we felt like everything was going to be all right. You know, so that's, you know, consciousness when it recognizes itself, there's many ways it can experience and it can communicate and play with itself. But I think very often when we feel that sense of freedom in the presence of another, that there's a freedom in them. There's a lightness, that unbearable lightness of being. Somewhere there's that recognition, everything's going to be all right, which comes from that deep inner knowing. Of course, everything's going to be all right. I am that. I am that I am. I am that awareness. I am that love. This too shall pass. All that appears will pass, but I will not. I am always here. I will always be here. I will always be love. So don't be afraid of experience or trauma or anxiety. Don't run from them. Don't run to them. Perhaps you know all what I've been expressing, what you've been expressing to yourself already, but if some of this is new to you, yeah, let meditation be a 24/7 thing. In this respect, it can start out the way we started out today. It can start out with an awareness of the body and a walking and working through the body and walking through the body and relaxing. And you probably have different relaxation and meditative techniques, and that's great. But allow that to take you into awareness of awareness itself, of the unbounded nature of yourself as awareness. Investigate. Get familiar with yourself. Play in the field of your infinity. And each day, carry that with you, if you can, just a little bit, into experience. And when things come along, conditioned feelings that maybe have upset you or triggered you before, just experiment with just being present with them. Just to know that you can experience them, that they can't control you. They can't make you run or hide or, you know, fight back, fight or flight. If you do fight or flight, forgive yourself. And the next time, just try to be present. If you do fight or flight again, forgive yourself. Next time, be present. It's a process. It's a process. Just allowing yourself. Okay. Yeah, this one really, yeah, this is one. I know this one. Okay. I'm just going to be with it and just observe it, witness it. Right away, something starts to relax into your deeper nature. That's what witness consciousness is about. It's really just witnessing the body experience. So that's it. So just practicing allowing all your daily experience to be felt without needing to respond. If you need a response, if one is appropriate or needed, you will do what you need to do, whether it's a work setting or a life setting, fine. But the goal isn't to have, it's not about your physical response, but simply just to be present with it so that you, by bit, begin to realize there's really nothing. There's nothing, there's no experience that I need to jump into my identity, this identity to deal with. Because that identity, that fight or flight, puts us back into that conditioning. So the more we're actually able just to be with everything that arises, the more it all relaxes. And we begin to find ourselves again back where we started as that little kid, that innocent little kid. Just joy experiencing this ride, this game, this form, this hologram, virtual reality, whatever you will. So I'll be meeting with people again next Wednesday. You're very welcome, Lorraine. So I hope to see you again. I'll post it on the Facebook page, and you're all welcome. And there's a lot of folks that normally come on Wednesday that will probably join us next week. And but I'm really happy to meet these reflections of myself. And so, oh, thank you, Richard. So I look forward to seeing you again, and maybe we can play in the field of dialogue as well in the future. So God bless everyone. Thank you for coming.